7 o'clock. So would you please stand if you can and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first on the agenda is to review and approve the minutes for the March 12th regular meeting.
I move we approve.
Second.
You want to take the second, Melanie?
I will take the second. Thank you.
I could flip a coin if we need to. Got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, introduction of the brand spanking new, nobody knows him, golf course manager, Daniela, that'll be you.
Thank you, Mayor. Our own Dustin Housh has been named the new general manager of Sand Creek Station. We invited him here to congratulate him, and I'm also going to read a little bit about who Dustin is, and so give me just a minute. Dustin started in 2009 as a part-time CART staff employee during high school. After high school, he joined the Kansas Army National Guard and served 6 years in the 2nd 137th Combined Arms Battalion with an honorable discharge. Throughout his military career, he continued to advance his educational career in business with a degree from Housh Community College and then more education from Wichita State. He recently married Kelsey and is a father to 2 stepchildren, Ella and Liam. He cares very deeply about Newton and the continued importance of Sand Creek Station as a reflection of this great community. To that note, he mentioned to me that our great community is one of the main reasons why USGA selected Sand Creek Station to host the Adaptive Open here this summer, a very special championship. The precedent was set in 2014 with the success of another large championship called the U.S. Amateur Public Links. He is here today. We have invited him here. I'd like to ask him to come up here if you'd like to say a few words, and thank you for being here. Come on up.
Thank you, everyone. Obviously, I'm new at this. Old at the golf course, but new at this. Thank you very much. That means, a lot. And, I appreciate this community, with everything that we have, so we want to make sure that we keep Newton's image first and foremost. And you guys have built a great golf course. James takes care of it tirelessly. No, thank you so much, for those kind words. Again, I can't, express how much it means to me, and I've worked so hard to get to this position. And again, thank you all. That's it. I'll get better at this as it goes.
Thank you, Dustin. You're good. You're good.
What's under that?
What's that shirt? Yeah, some people might not know who you're working with, so why don't you go ahead and introduce the people that came to root you on, Dustin.
So these are the people that actually do the most work. James, our superintendent, and then Lori, our controller / everything else, and Tristan Webb, our everything else, tournament director, whatever he can do. But no, again, thank you guys so much. We just want to continue this great partnership.
Sure.
I was hoping you would get this opportunity. I'm
No.
so glad that you're here and
Well-
you have our support.
No, thank you very much.
Congratulations.
You guys' support is everything, and it's community first, Newton first, and we're just gonna continue to, to do the best we can.
You'll do it.
You've got this. Congrats.
No, thank you guys.
Thanks, Dustin. Thank you.
Dustin has to leave to go to see kids at a school program, so.
Oh.
So.
Kind of sad about that.
Yeah. Well,
Feel free.
don't feel like you have to stick around.
Yeah.
We're glad you came, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, next on the agenda, consider request for New Jerusalem Mission for use of picnic tables, trash containers on their property at 209 East Broadway on May 4th for Barbecue for Bricks fundraiser. Denise?
Yes, thank you. New Jerusalem Missions is holding a Barbecue for Bricks fundraiser, and they have asked they're doing it on their property over there. They've asked for picnic tables and trash cans, and since it is on public property and it is open to the public, we have been okay with doing that. That's also the same day that the downtown car show is happening, or the Newton car show, so there's a lot of activity going on that day. Staff has looked at that request, and they are okay with it.
Okay.
Mayor, I move that we approve that request.
Okay. Do we have a second?
I second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next item, consider an ordinance amending Type 2 trash collection rates. Suzanne.
Yes, Commissioners, we have talked about the Type 2 trash collection not that long ago. In 2023, we talked about it a bit. We are asking to increase the Type 2 rates only. Type 2 is our service that has a large dumpster, and so that's only for our commercial accounts and a multifamily account that would have multiple units putting their trash into a large dumpster instead of the poly carts. So we're asking for this increase because we did have an increase at the transfer station per ton of trash. It was increased $2 per ton in January. And you have asked us before to try and keep those rates where we do compete some with the private sector, remembering we just pick up those commercial accounts that happen to be on the way as we're doing our residential accounts and to fill in the gaps. And so we're asking that this rate be increased. And you'll notice in the table in the ordinance on it's 10 of the ordinance, page 18 of your packet, the Type 2 cost chart. These costs include the rental rate for the dumpsters because the dumpsters are rented, but it also includes that increase. And it's not just an even, Steven, if you're looking at the last ordinance, a $2 increase per item, because these types of containers, depending on the location and the need of the customer, they could be collected once a week, twice a week, 3 times. So they're being tipped multiple times during the week. But that increase would be every time we have to take that trash to the transfer station. There were a few other cleanup items that were taken care of in this ordinance too. And I don't know if we ended up with the red line or this is just the final, and I don't think we showed red line, but this is the final version, and if you have questions, Chris and I can try and answer those.
Is that just commercial, you said, or?
It's commercial and then a few multifamily accounts. It would be like for a large apartment complex, they have the option of utilizing our service. So if they have a big dumpster where the trash is going instead of poly carts, then it would be on this.
Is that including, like, if somebody requests like a rental or whatever from the city, a city dumpster on their residence?
No, that would be, that's a different service.
Okay. That's all I need to know.
Do we have an ordinance number?
Yes, that'd be ordinance 5142-24.
I move that we approve that ordinance.
I second that motion.
Got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Listing agreement with Lange Real Estate to facilitate the marketing of approximately 85 acres of city-owned land west of the airport. I believe that's you, Zach.
Yes, thank you, Commission. Yeah, you have before you the listing agreement. We've been working on this for a minute to get everything worked out. This is exclusive or non-exclusive agreement. It allows Beth complete freedom if she brings in the leads through Kansas Department of Commerce or GWP. We do not have to pay the realtor fee for that, which is typical in a standard real estate transaction. You have the complete freedom to not, if we do find somebody that wants to purchase the land, you don't have to sell it to them if the development agreement does not make sense to you. So this is just a great way for us to market the city and market property available. Beth and I are very limited in what we can, but we can't put it on the realtor MLS or Crexy or anything like that. That's not in our avenue. So this is just a good way to showcase what we got for sale, especially with GAF announcing. I think we're going to start seeing a lot of uptick in development and people looking at what's available around Newton. So good timing.
Well, I would move that we approve the listing agreement.
I'll
A
second.
second?
Okay, got a motion in 2 seconds. Pick your favorite one. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Receive plans and specs for airport hangar doors and set the time to receive bids. Suzanne?
Yes, Commissioners. A few years ago, we met with the county. The city commission and the county met to go over maintenance issues out at the airport, and we had several different capital improvements that needed to be done. And the one that we're talking about today are two very large hangar doors at Hangar A and Hangar J, and we're wanting to get these replaced. These are not just your average door because they're large, so that you can get a plane in. And we have the bid specs that are shown here. Our process would be to put this out to those vendors that would be interested in this type of work, and then we would receive bids, proposals for us to review and then bring back to you at a later date with a recommendation. And that date would be April 18th at 11 a.m. And the cost of these door replacements will be split 50-50 between the city and the county, because remember, it's a partnership between the city and Harvey County out at the airport. And once we have those bids, we bring them back, and then we would recommend awarding based on the bids that we receive.
The pictures of the old door speaks very loudly.
Yeah. So we just need you to approve the plans and specifications and set the bid date as presented.
Well, I will move to approve the plans and specifications and the bid date for April 18th at 11 a.m.
I will second that motion.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Consider an improvement resolution for the rail spur at KLP. Suzanne?
Yes, Commissioners, if you recall back in January, the City Commission approved the Economic Development Grant Agreement with the state of Kansas. This is for Phase 1 of the rail improvements that's shown on the screen in blue. This project, we would move forward with it as soon as we hear from GAF. But this agenda item is specifically for the funding resolution. You did not approve that previously. Remembering that the state grant contributes up to 75% of the total actual cost of construction, but it does not exceed the $3,044,041. So we would be paying the difference in that. And our finance director had suggested that we go ahead and have the bonding resolution in place, because the grant agreement also has a recapture formula in it. And if for some reason we end up needing to move forward and we would get into that recapture formula, we would want to have the ability to pay for the project. We don't anticipate that, but this funding resolution is for that full dollar amount. And we would use whatever is needed of it. And once we bond, when we're ready to bond following the project, then we would set the exact amount. And before we move forward with construction, we'll come back to you with plans and specifications and set the bid date. And we're not ready to move forward with that yet. This just puts the funding in place for it.
Okay. questions?
So the 3 million is the state's 75% of the overall project, of the construction costs. What is the anticipated engineering costs and all those other ancillary costs?
Yeah, we already paid for all of that in the past because we have had these plans sitting on the shelf for a while. So we're looking at really just the construction piece at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Good for our taxpayer.
Yes.
You have a resolution number?
Yes. I-1212.
So I would move that we approve the funding resolution for the KLP I-1212.
I will second that.
Okay, got a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you.
Next item, consider an agreement with Kansas and Oklahoma Railroad to extend the expiration date of the K&O option to purchase 23 acres of real estate from the city. That's Chris.
Sure. Just to provide some history, about a year ago, City Commission entered into an agreement with K&O, providing them with an option to purchase approximately 23 acres of city-owned land at a price of $15,000 per acre. They had an option, the first option price, and now we've got a depiction of the property in that kind of red, pink outline. So they had an option for 6 months to make the purchase. They asked the city to extend that for 6 months. You did. And now we are looking at another request to extend it another 6 months. With each of those 3 blocks of time, K&O puts up $15,000. They've paid the prior $30,000. Should the city commission approve this agreement, they would pay an additional $15,000 for that right, totaling $45,000 to purchase that property. If they don't go forward with purchasing it, the city retains the $45,000. If they do go forward with the purchase price, that $45,000 is credited towards the purchase price. City staff supports it, providing them with more time to consider their option. This will take it out another 6 months. I would stand for questions, so would Suzanne, if you have any questions on the specifics. But it's the same action you would have taken essentially 6 months ago.
I move that we approve this extension.
I second.
Okay, got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And consider an ordinance eliminating certain restriction on the sale and consumption of propane and natural gas. Chris.
I can cover this one as well. This is kind of first part of an action regarding some state legislation that restricts cities' ability to restrict end users of propane and natural gas. This ordinance is fairly simple. It does 2 things. One, it recognizes that act, says that any city codes or ordinance that we have on the books would not conflict with that Kansas statute. And then second, it repeals a couple areas where we had certain fire zones that would prohibit the propane or natural gas, and it just takes it off the books. We can't simply say, okay, in this area you can't be an end user of propane and natural gas. We can have reasonable restrictions that talk about distance setback, size, those sorts of things, and those would still be in play with what we have on the books. I attached an AG opinion that speaks to it, and I think the statute's in the packet as well. I would stand for any questions. If we see anything else that may be in conflict, we may come back with additional repealers. But for now, we feel that this would suffice. City staff supports this ordinance change. I would stand for any questions.
Just say I was disappointed that we lost home rule and the ability to say not
Sure.
next to churches or schools or anything like that. So, but
since it's uniformly applicable, but we are not restricted from having regulations on the books so long as it isn't adverse to the statute. So
right.
we're okay to have certain statutes, but we can't have anything that runs against it. We can't, you're right, we cannot charter out of it.
Because we used to have that you couldn't have it within 600 feet of a school, church, hospital, or assembly hall. Right. And so this takes that away because if you said that, then you're saying that they can't use.
Sure. There are, Suzanne's staff works on the front lines with folks and tries to be reasonable and tries to work with property owners to find good solutions, maintaining safety and usability.
Ordinance number
5143-24.
Well, I would move that we approve ordinance 5143-24.
I second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. We'll have citizens forum next, and we have one person signed up. Then we'll have an executive session after we go around the horn after citizens forum. And we don't anticipate taking any action coming out of executive session. So Rebecca Barrett Fox, if you would.
Thank you, Sitting Commissioners. I would like to approach you tonight about participating in Kansas Department of Health and Environment's wastewater monitoring program. Newton is an eligible city, and KDHE is specifically looking for a city like Newton. They've also, Heston would be another city that they would consider in our area working with, but I'm hoping that we would say yes to them. This is a program that monitors for disease outbreak. They monitor for flu A, flu B, RSV, and COVID are the diseases that they're monitoring for. And wastewater monitoring helps them paint a better picture statewide of where there's disease outbreak, but it also give our city just more accurate information. The presence of these pathogens in our water leads about 10 days or so to increases in hospitalization. So it give our hospitals a little time to prepare for outbreaks. And then also individuals could use that information, community leaders, nursing homes, for example, could use that information to decide what their protocols need to be as they're adapting them to outbreaks. So the idea is, once you see it in the water, you can get ahead of it to help slow it down, or end outbreaks. So there's some disease control here. It would also help our neighboring communities because our wastewater is not going to be very different than Heston's or Halstead's, so they could also rely on that information. KDHE works in the 60-day memorandum with cities so we can test it out, and if we like it, we can just keep doing it. It requires about 60 to 90 minutes of work per week from someone in testing the water, somebody from the water department, but KDHE pays for all the equipment, all the testing, all the mailing in of samples. They can't pay a salary for someone in the water department, but there's a possibility of a stipend. So if we have an employee who would like to do it on a stipend, maybe outside of paid time, or if the water department would need to have a little money in there to make that more appealing, there's also an option for citizen scientists to do it. So if we opted with that, KDHA would provide us with a piece of equipment that we would attach to a sewer line. It would actually automatically draw samples out of the sewer. Then we would need citizen scientists to pack it up and drop it off just at a UPS drop box. So it's a pretty simple, program. I think we have the citizen scientists who would be interested in doing it. So I think that part would be available. We could find people to do it. Even that part can just kind of be exciting for science classes or science clubs, or like I said, citizen scientists are interested in it. So I'd love to talk more about it if you're interested in wastewater pathogens, but that's what I'd like y'all to think about.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Comments?
We were approached about this previously, I believe, and we denied it at a staff level because we have been very shorthanded in the water and wastewater area. And we knew this was going to be an additional item that would take additional time from an already short staff. We are back to staff. Well, actually, we're down another. It just continues to go up and down, and so we have been reluctant to sign on because of that. Typically, in the past, we have signed on when the state has requested us for other things, but this was an option, and that's why we selected not to. I think it's something that we could visit about.
Yeah.
Maybe it doesn't have to be in a public meeting, but staff could visit with Rebecca about it.
Do we know how that, I mean, like, once, say that there's this testing in the waters, there's indication of the flu or whatever viruses they'll be testing for, what is their plan to approach, like, how will they approach that?
Like how does the data get used?
The what?
The data gets reported to a dashboard.
Okay.
And then you could, I think, sign up for alerts. I would expect our hospital administrators would probably be pretty in tune to that information. So that's where the information goes.
Okay.
Because it goes through our wastewater treatment plant, it's very anonymized. It's, we can't tell anything about neighborhoods. We can't tell anything about households. We can't tell anything about individual sides of town or anything like that. So it's pretty anonymous. And they're also limited in what they can test for. It's just right now those 4 things. There could develop technology later for other kinds of things.
So it
but
could
we'd have to
possibly,
opt in.
sorry, I'm sorry.
That's right.
Go ahead.
We can opt into what we want to have tested up to those 4 things.
Okay.
So, like if you said, could we test for methamphetamines? We can't do that. That's not there. So the private protections, I think, are pretty strong.
So it's just basically to tell us, like, if there's an outbreak coming.
Yeah, because by the time it's in the wastewater, that gives us a little bit of time to prepare hospitals. Like I said, nursing homes could say, that's enough to trigger, we want masking back in nursing homes, or we want to, how they want to respond.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
I have a question out of pure ignorance. Isn't it already there?
The testing or the?
I mean, the viruses, I guess I'm trying to figure out why. I mean, it seems like it's going to be already there. With so many people, I mean, I think of people that probably have it, don't go get tested. So it may already be there as far as in the wastewater.
Sure.
I guess I'm thinking it sounds like it's.
I think they can correlate the levels that are in the results to the actual confirmed positives, so they can actually bring that number down. Because yes, it's already there. It's already going to show up, but they're not going to put it at a level of concern unless the other indicators are there as well. So the math monkeys have figured that out.
Yeah. I think what we'd be looking for is changes in levels. So it's not just, is it present or not
Trends
present?
that is it trending up or is it trending down?
Right, is it trending up, is it trending down? Because yeah, all wastewater is going to show that stuff's happening, but if in next December we see RSV levels rising up, then we can let hospitals know, let daycares know. We're seeing outbreaks, or we're seeing evidence that there's going to be an outbreak. Let's get ahead of it if you start noticing these symptoms, just to be more alert for it.
I guess I'm just apprehensive about that. Let's get ahead of it and what that ends up being, and who begins to dictate what we do as getting ahead of it. I'm just thinking ahead and how that could play out, and that's probably the part I'm not so favorable toward.
KDHE has my communication with them, they said their data collection. So this is information.
But your local or your county government, I guess I'm looking at what kind of a response that might bring.
Sure.
I don't want to see happen what happened 2 or 3 years ago.
Sure. I mean, that would be up to the county. Yeah. But it also gives individuals, like if we tell people you're individually responsible for making choices for your own health, it gives them the information they would want to make informed decisions.
But they would certainly have the freedom to do what they would want to do about that. Yeah, I hear it. I hear where you're at with that. I would need to think really long and hard on that. Sure. And part of that is just not understanding all of it, but I think I can get information and come to an understanding.
And I'd be interested in also what our hospital leaders have to say about it. How, I mean, these are all as my understanding is, these are illnesses that they have to report on when they show up as positive cases. So in some ways, it won't be surprising. They can look back and make a guess about what did the wastewater look like 10 days ago or 2 weeks ago, depending on what they're seeing in hospitals. But if we could have that in advance of hospitalization, it could help hospitals be better prepared.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Let's go around the horn. We will go this way.
Oh.
What's up?
And have you got anything you want to share or comment on? Or this is the end of the meeting where we talk about how good a week we had last week, or
I can't think of anything I need to share right now.
okay, Leroy.
No, sir.
No, sir.
I would just remind you that the grand opening of the library will occur on April 1st. This is the last time I'm going to have to say this about something at the new library. At 10 a.m., the grand opening will occur on Monday, April 1st.
And read you like a book.
Yes.
My turn?
Yes.
My turn. I do have something. And Denise, don't cringe, please. Every year, the City Clerks and Municipal Finance Officers Association selects the city clerk to be named the City Clerk of the Year. They select an individual who has made significant contributions to the state association, the profession, and the community, their community. This year, our very own Denise Dirksen has been named the City Clerk of the Year for 2024. She was presented with the honor last week at the annual conference, and most of us got to see her get that award. So she's worked for the city for 33 years and has been an amazing asset to this community. So congratulations, Denise.
Speech. Look at your speech.
Well deserved.
Your speech.
Very seldom is she ever
Yes.
speech. But here she is, yeah.
There we go.
I was very humbled and honored to be nominated by my staff or my colleagues, whatever you want to call. And I was very honored to get this award and very surprised, needless to say. And the department heads all showed up and my family showed up and for the receiving of that. So it was a good day.
Well
So
deserved.
thank you.
Well deserved.
Wow.
Thank you.
Well, you are so worthy, Denise. You do so much for this commission, for everyone. You have the answers at the snap of a finger for anything that we have questions on. And we don't take it for granted. We just appreciate it very much. So congratulations. I would like to say, too, that I really appreciated the opportunity to attend the donor appreciation opening at the library Sunday. It left me speechless. You know, when we looked at diagrams for this years ago, things look so different on a diagram. And it was hard to visualize how that was really going to come to fruition. And I thank Suzanne for taking my husband and I through a tour of that library. It's just incredible. I would like to pack up everything I have in my home where I sit and read and take it over to the library. I just wanted to go over there and just sit and it's so calm and it's so nice. And several over there Sundays, Suzanne, sang your praises. And I know you don't like a lot of accolades. I understand that. And I know it was team effort, and I get all of that. Everybody said it was.
It was.
But your name was mentioned often, and I just say thank you for all that you put into that. I know there were many others that did, but Carrie didn't hesitate when she said, hey, I'm the librarian. I don't have any idea about this, or this. And you were able to provide that information that was necessary in decision-making, and they're so grateful for you. And we are too. We're just very grateful, so thank you.
Thank you,
And
Kathy.
I think those who, well, we'll get to see it hopefully at the ribbon cutting on Monday. It's a beautiful work and just beautiful. So I'm very, very excited about it.
Yeah, I got to go the other day as well, and I tell you what, formerly on the board of the library, and seeing this go from dream to actual physical reality has been a great adventure.
Yep.
It was a huge team effort, everything from engineering to lawyers to bond counsel to the community saying, yes, we want this, after years of saying probably not and everything. So, thank you to the community for supporting the library, and thank you to all the staff and everybody that made it happen.
Yes.
Yeah, I went on Sunday too, and I was just totally impressed. I even checked out the Cat in the Hat, couple of Cat in the Hat books. Anyway, we had a big week last week. If you didn't notice, the big GAF announcement came, and I just want to recognize, there's so many people that were involved with all of that, and EcoDevo, Harvey County Economic Development Board, and Miss Beth back there. Beth is, I have the pleasure of watching her in action with recruits, and certainly she has such a knack for doing the right thing and saying the right thing at the right time, and creating that connectivity with prospects that's obviously been very resultful. Also want to mention, the every chance I get, I want the group that had the guts to invest in the logistics park. They went for years and years and years, and people talking about the racetrack to nowhere and all of that. And one of the reasons I moved to Newton is that people were brave enough to kind of stick their necks out to make things happen. And you have to have assets for things to work, and that certainly was an extremely valuable asset. Had Kevin Housh and Ray Penner and Ron Lange and that economic development group and city commission group that was that stuck their necks out and found out how to finance all that stuff and put in all the improvements. That took some real courage to do that, and I'm thankful that we have people in this community that are willing to do that. Working with Beth is the Choose Newton group, Zach McCatton. They work closely together, and certainly that's a combination that certainly makes it hard for some other communities to compete with us when we've got such a dynamic duo working together. And city staff through all of this has just been phenomenal too. The He-Man work that they've done, keep us in a position where things like this can happen. Suzanne's name comes up a lot in discussions with GAF, how her relationship with their engineers was certainly very valuable. And then to have commissioners around me that understand the importance of adding to the tax base. The hard work that we've all put in. We've seen in the last 5 or 6 years a new swimming pool complex, and we sat down, rolled up our sleeves, and did some long-range planning, and we've figured out how to make things work. We've refinanced debt, and that long-range vision that we put into play has put us in a position where things are happening now, and I'm very thankful that to be serving with commissioners that understand how important that is. So Anyway, I've been in my happy place for at least a week. Leaving for Florida on Thursday to kind of kick my feet up for a few days. So thank you guys for your hard work, and let's have us an executive session now. And we're going to do the one on the real estate. We aren't going to do the one on the attorney-client privilege. So if someone would read that motion. And how long do we need?
We call it, what do you say, 8 o'clock? 8 o'clock.
Perfect, yeah.
And just to note for the public, it was on the agenda as attorney-client. We're replacing that with an executive session under acquisition of real property.
Okay.
Okay. I move that the city commission recess into executive session to discuss the acquisition of real estate located within the city. The justification for closing the meeting is to conduct preliminary discussions regarding the acquisition of real property. The time and place at which the open meeting shall resume is 8 p.m. here in City Commission chambers.
I'll second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It is 8 o'clock, and we're back out of executive session, and we will take no action. So with that, the meeting is adjourned.